It's very terrifying.
The clicking
The
in our
clicking
in
is
our
it's very,
intro.
very intimidating.
Do we need to mute your audio for yourself so you don't have to hear
So I have to hear
the
it.
you
Yeah.
have to like stand backstage and wait for magical things to happen?
It's all fun and games until it starts ticking slower. Because I'm like dee 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 dee
Oh
dee
yeah, you're
dee dee.
dancing in the background, but
Uh-huh.
I stopped looking at you at one point so I can
No.
like do the button. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. All
I get very scared.
right. All right. I'm Tara.
Hi, I'm Natalie.
And this is a podcast about us making a movie because we are, in fact, making a movie, our first feature film. Well,
Allegedly.
allegedly, our first feature film is called "Turns Out It's the Apocalypse." We are the writers, we are the producers, we are doing all the things, and it's our first one, so we're learning about all the things. And this podcast is following along on the adventure of that in real time. Every episode is in real time what we're doing with the show. Kind of not the next four
I feel like we're getting a
is and
well,
isn't. It's
yes.
an important part of it.
Yeah, we're okay. So it's not just our journey, it's what the journey would be if you were
Yeah.
making your feature film. So
Yeah.
we went through, the funding and setting up a crowdfunding thing and the
Yeah.
script and all that finding a producer, finding a director.
Yeah.
Well, we're past that and this doesn't pertain to us because we're egomaniacs and cast ourselves. So but we're
Yeah.
into casting. We're talking about casting now.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
specifically what we're dubbing marquee casting, because casting is its own beast, and we'll get into that later on.
Yeah.
But marquee casting, finding those big names, getting them attached to your script, big names. I mean, bigger than your name, has a star meter beyond whatever I have. I don't know. I've never even checked my star meter. And then, and getting them attached to your script, and then how that changes the game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Quick sidebar before we dive into all of that. Here live on Instagram, if you are here, you can do a super chat. And all of those super chats that we get, we're gonna be putting straight toward making the movie happen. If you also want to just PayPal some money, there's a button below to do that. Thank you so much to everyone who has been reaching out to us to help us fund this film. We appreciate you all so, so very much. You cannot believe there's been things happening in the back that were
We've got a sneaky
so
pineapple behind the scene one that we can't
yeah,
necessarily talk about because we didn't
not
clear it
yet.
with the person.
We didn't do it.
However, if you want to invest in the film, go ahead and email us.
Yes, email us. That email's below. If you want to be an investor in the film and a true blue investor, there's an email below to do that. So go for it. We appreciate you. Okay, so like Nellie said, today we're doing marquee casting, and I just want to point out the fact that I'm pretty sure, I'm like 99% sure that Natalie has coined the term marquee casting.
I did look it up.
Yeah, you
I
did your
did
due
look it up.
diligence.
No, I mean I've since then looked it up and I
Yeah,
can't
no, I know.
find it. There's a casting agency called Marquee Casting, but I don't know where this
Yeah.
came from. Somebody
I
else
don't
said
know.
it. I'm sure. I don't remember.
Maybe, but you're the first person I've ever heard say it, and I really like the distinction of it between something called stunt casting, where you cast someone famous in whatever role just to try and get a name in your film to get funding or whatever. This is more like you cast the right person for the right role. It's a good combination of like this project is going to help them forward in some way, or they want this because they believe in it, and it just so happens to be somebody who moves the needle in one way or another on your project. So marquee casting is super interesting, and we're going to be dedicating the next couple episodes to this process, even though we don't have a place for that in our lives.
We're not doing that. It's probably what we should have done. Tina Fey and
That is the
Amy
right thing to
Poehler should be
do.
playing the leads in this role in
Yeah.
this movie. However, we're going to do it anyway because we're selfish.
We're gonna keep going. We're gonna keep going because it's what the movie wants. It
It's what the
wants
movie
this.
wants.
The movie
Yeah.
wants this. Today we're gonna be talking to our friend that we met film festival life is Nelson.
Yeah, so I met Nelson. Actually, I didn't meet Nelson. I was at the same film festival as Nelson at Desertscape International Film Festival down here in St. George. He had his world premiere of his first narrative feature film. I think he's produced, I think it was his directorial debut. He can correct me about this if I'm wrong. But it was Breakup Season, which is a phenomenal movie. And the whole cast was there. It was such a great
Oh, that's
experience.
fun.
However, I mean, and I still regret it. Like, I loved the dad character, and I didn't go up and say hi because I wanted to tell the guy that he was so phenomenal, but I
He was
chickened
so
out.
good.
Anyway, so we didn't meet there. We then, or maybe we did at the table before we left. The very last night at the award ceremony, we're sitting around the table, and I said, "You're going to be at Gig Harbor, I think. Maybe not. I don't know. Whatever. We met at Dubuque. We met at Julian Dubuque International Film Festival, and I walked up and made sure we got a picture and sent it to the guys from Desertscape. There were a bunch of us that were from both festivals. Anyway,
Oh, that's fun.
Nelson was the nicest guy, like totally let me just pick his ear. Tara came over. I'm like, I don't even know this guy. You want to talk to him? He totally let Tara pick his ear. And since then, we've run into each other at festivals, and now we're friendsies. And then Tara recently, after we
Oh,
reached out.
yeah. Recently, so just by sheer happenstance and luck, because of our own project, a short film called In the Event of, I drew our own in-flight safety cards as promo material for us. And it just so happened that Nelson needed a similar artifact for something he was filming coming up, and so he reached out to me. They lost their previous illustrator. Reached out to me and was like, I saw that you could do this. Do you think you could do that for us in 4 days? And I was like, I will make it happen
Yes,
for you.
yes.
Absolutely. And then because I happen to own the flight attendant costume from it, and they're like, we also need a flight attendant. Will you come wear your dress? I'm like, hell yes, I'll wear my dress again and get pictures on a plane. So worth it to me.
This is how the world is supposed to work.
It is.
When the pieces fall together, this is how it works.
It was so fun. It was so fun. I first want to say I saw Breakup Season, and I've now learned how to spell the word breakup. I've spelled it several times wrong in the emails back and forth. Yeah, didn't know that. But it is such a good
so
film.
good.
I finally made myself sit down and watch it because I finally slowed my life down to watch a movie, and it is a fantastic film. It is an indie darling of a film. If you are looking for something that is off the beaten path, but a solid story.
So much heart.
Solid. Oh God, so much heart. It gives you those same rom-com feelings without it being just your typical canned rom-com. And I'm a rom-com lover. I specialize in rom-com. This is a great film. And working with Nelson as a director, he is just a joy. Like the moment you get something right, air quote, right, the way that he's looking for it to go, he jumps up and it's like, yeah, fuck yeah. And like, it is so fun to work for him because like you want to get him to do that. So you're like working real hard. And he makes the set so peaceful and enjoyable and lovely and calm and like everyone, just a good day for everybody. There is no
wow.
stress. It's
Now I'm
fantastic.
jelly. Now I'm jelly.
So hire Nelson for your directing because he's a fantastic collaborator, and
Yeah.
working with him on the illustrations, like fantastic collaborator. Listen to my feedback of like, we can do that, except here's just some things to keep in mind about doing that. Fantastic collaborator. Like could not have gone better.
I want to say
So,
one more thing about Breakup Season
it.
before we bring Nelson in and he gets to start talking about it. So we're talking. We're going to be talking about Marquee Casting, but the ensemble in this is phenomenal.
Absolutely.
And I've met now 3 of the actors from it, I think, and all of them have been absolutely darling too. So like, sounds like
yeah?
they brought
They were
together like
so
the
good.
nicest group, and they were so good. Brooke we met Brooke at the mother, and she's phenomenal.
yeah.
We met her at
She was really
Gig
good.
Harbor, and there's an interview somewhere of us interviewing Brooke floating out there if you want to try to find that.
She was so good. She genuinely, like, I didn't know what she was gonna say next. Like just her act. I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah.
what's the mom gonna do? And the lead female, I don't remember her name all of a sudden because the names are hard. The lead female is just so good, like with just like her micro expressions, and I don't know what she's gonna do next, and really living and justifying like her choices as being the breakup person. Like I appreciate the entire cast is phenomenal.
For sure.
Okay. I think that's enough gloating over Nelson. I think we're going to introduce him officially into the room. Oh, there. Hi, Nelson. Welcome.
Hi.
Thank you for having me.
Hi. Yeah.
I have
Welcome,
no
welcome.
need to say anything more. You guys said some really
We
nice
did it
stuff.
all.
So
We did
thank
it
you
all.
for that.
Yeah, we nailed your whole.
So thank you. No,
You bet.
all the
Well,
kind words. And yeah.
yeah, I mean, like, just as a brief, like, how did you get here to be a
Yeah.
director? How did you get here in directing? Like,
Yeah,
what was your,
I'm one of those people since I was 5 years old, I knew I was going to make movies and I was going to figure out a way to do
yeah.
it one way or another. And so, I made movies all through my childhood and got a video camera for my 12th birthday and, kind of one of those classic stories. And then I went to film school at Chapman University, which is in Orange County,
Oh,
California.
Chapman's good. I remember
Chapman's
Yeah.
good.
Chapman. Yeah.
Yeah. And then it was a case of, you graduate college with an arts degree and you're like,
What do I do
now
now?
what? And I loved the school and I met some amazing people, but I did feel like the school kind of just dropped you off at the curb and said, good luck with your life. There isn't there wasn't
Yeah.
a feeling of, how to build a career as a filmmaker, but I had a North Star of I want to write and direct movies. And I moved to Los Angeles as one does. I started working in editing and I was doing a lot of freelance edit work as a post-production assistant and then an assistant editor. And whenever possible, carving out time to direct short films or, PSA pieces for people or whatever the heck I could get my hands on
Right.
that way.
Yeah.
And then at a certain point, I realized that I was never going to like leap to directing from that assistant editing career. Like that was never going to just be like one day jump. So I had to take a more dramatic, take my life into my own hands essentially. And Breakup season is the culmination of studying a lot of indie movies and thinking about what can I do with the resources I have and take all the opportunities I have to make my debut feature and tell a story that I knew I could justify and tell well. It is fiction, but I pulled from my friends, my siblings, my own life, to tell a story that I was equipped to tell about early 20s breakups and relationships and family and that dynamic. And so that was now 3 years ago. I was really in the thick of development on it. We shot it in February of 2023, and I spent the bulk of 2023 editing it, and then
You
we did
edited it?
I edited
I
it
don't
with
like
two
saying
other
the word
editors.
edited.
Yeah.
Edited it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
I edited it with with two other guys. It was kind of like a game of baseball where you had like, the first pitcher, the second pitcher, the third pitcher. I was kind of the
Okay.
middle pitcher. But I did a lot of the delivery on it. Again, having an editing background, as you all know, it's nice to have a lot of skill sets to
Yeah.
keep costs down and, make
Yeah.
it able to make an indie movie on a shoestring budget. And then we just cooked on the festival circuit. At a certain point, we did not get into Sundance. We did not get into South by Southwest. And
Yeah.
I know the two of you are people who appreciate the regional film festival circuit. And so it was a case of, okay, if we can't hit a home run, we're going to hit as many singles and as many doubles as we can. and
Small
we're gonna-
ball. Do some small
Small
ball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so in 2024, we played at 39 film festivals.
Nice.
Wow.
I attended
That's
22.
a lot for a feature.
Yes,
Wow.
it was more than I thought, but it was a case of, again, once it started, like at our world premiere Desertscape that Natalie mentioned, we met two other festivals from that film, like just
Okay.
one leads to the next, and festivals beget festivals. I think particularly for features because they are kind of what brings people to a film festival. They can be a kind of like you're saying marquee casting. There's also marquee movies for a film festival too.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, and then we played as many film festivals as we could. We did a very independently organized theatrical release in November of 2024, 18 cities. And then we got
Wow.
acquired by Buffalo 8 for kind of traditional distribution, meaning Amazon and video on demand and all that jazz. And now the film lives on the internet. And I sort of came out the other side like, wow, I learned so much, and I am, it feels like a lifetime ago, and yet, it was only, amazing how much you can learn just by doing it. And I think you two know that very well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So that noise.
And that as well. That as well. The two of us together, Nelson. You and I
I know.
are
It's bad-
a sound engineer's
Yeah.
nightmare.
Everyone should know that Nelson's got some construction going on downstairs, I think
Yeah.
he said. And then Tara just lives on the busiest street in the
I
world.
just on the busiest street in Hollywood where
and
everything
so
seems to be happening.
between the two of them, we're gonna have
I
some
hope it's
fun
not
sound
god-awful,
effects
but
today.
Yeah.
No,
no,
but
okay.
I do think it's hilarious that like it sounds like they're trying to be quiet. I know they're not, but like it's like
Yeah.
as if they're like sawing kind of
Oh
quietly
gosh.
the way that the audio is coming in. Like
Oh,
they're
that's funny.
trying.
Okay.
It's so
At
funny.
least it's that. But yeah, no,
Yeah.
unfortunately, it's a Murphy's Law situation.
Comical.
And,
No.
It's okay. Yeah, it's
so,
all right. Our podcast audience will understand that you can't always hold for construction.
yeah.
Mm-mm. Okay, really quick, give me like short synopsis for Breakup Season, because yes, it's a breakup movie, but like more specifically, what's the story?
What do you want to tell?
Yeah, so it's about a young man who brings his girlfriend home for the holidays, and upon arrival, things don't get off to the start they had hoped for, and they're in rural Oregon, I should mention. And the night they arrive, a conversation leads into a breakup, and they decide that she should leave the next day. But it's rural Oregon in the winter, so she is not going anywhere. She is stuck with her now ex's family for the rest of the Christmas season. So
It's phenomenal. That's
Comedy.
So
a
good.
drama,
great setup. Oh
It
my
really
gosh.
is. It's a great setup. It's very fun, and I like that you, as a choice, you made the breakup a very understandable. No one's like the bad guy in the breakup. Like it's just one of those breakups that naturally happen when you're at that age. You're like, this isn't really working. We aren't really
yeah.
fit together.
Yes.
Like the a very like I love that you didn't go with like he cheated or something route, because it just
That
made
was-
it more relatable.
I knew that if it was something like he cheated on her or he's abusive or something like that, it was kind of game over. Like you had to be
Yeah.
able to see both sides in order for the whole thing to
It was
work.
well
And-
done.
And as a result, I got some critiques that was like, "Oh, it's not like there's no like reason they break up," and I'm like, "Well, that's not an accident.
That's life.
You know? That's
Yeah.
not a
That's
bug."
life.
So
Well,
yeah.
that's great. Like so, I walked away from Desertscape having seen Breakup Season, and there was another film there called Chicken Coop, that both were just one house. Basically, essentially, you guys leave in the town. Essentially, one house, very small ensemble of people, and then Tara and I have our film that is one house and very, very small ensemble of people, and the stakes are never like this huge thing in either of them. It's just life, and they're both such good stories. And I walked away with this idea of, oh, we can tell our story. We can do this.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be an apocalypse, even though there is an apocalypse in ours. But like,
Right.
it doesn't have to have these giant, like murderous stakes in order for it to be a compelling story. It just has to be real life stakes. It just has to feel honest. And if, as long as it feels honest and your characters and your acting is good, then I think that it's very doable to get an audience to watch a full feature of in one house with very small group of people. And so thank you for that, because I walked
Yeah.
away with a confidence to like actually move forward with making our film a little bit more too.
Yeah, she really
Yeah.
did, truly. Like she's like, we can make our movie now. I saw something that's similar. And I think that's important also for filmmakers out there. Like you're going to get feedback about like, well, the stakes aren't high enough. Well, sometimes the stakes aren't high because you were dealing with slice of life, real life things, and having that reflected back to you as an audience member is just as important as like there being a high stakes scenario. So, and that's what indie film is for, that
Right.
we're here to tell those stories. So thank you so much for making your movie so we can make our movie.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I think that I studied a lot of good indie movies from, kind of 10 years prior to mine, and the one location thing is important, but it's also like you kind of want to fake that it's one location, meaning like what can you tell a story that doesn't feel like they should actually be leaving, and one of the ways to do that is Christmas. For me was I didn't set out to make a Christmas movie because I love holiday flicks or something like that, but because Christmas is a time where you're all going to be at home, and if it's a snowstorm, kind of like I guess the apocalypse, like inevitably you're
stuck.
not going
stuck.
anywhere. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
but it doesn't. And then if you watch the movie, we ended up expanding the world of it because we had access to some stuff in the town, and so we were like, we can make it bigger,
Up
from
the
there,
production value. Yeah.
add the
Oh,
production
yeah.
value,
Yeah.
and lean into some kind of background stuff and all that. But it was rooted in this very contained entity. And when I read a lot of first feature screenplays from folks who don't have a production background, they often have 25 locations and all that. And when I
Explosions.
and explosions.
Yeah.
And even if they don't, it's like I think sometimes every location move is costing you time with your
Yes.
cast and costing you time to get into the root of what you're after. And we shot it pragmatic based on so we did all the upstairs stuff first, then we did the downstairs stuff, and then we did all the stuff in the world our third week, and then the last thing we shot was actually the breakup stuff because that was the most important. So it was shot.
Yeah.
I had a great first AD and producer Steven, and we shot it with the locations and limitations in mind, and
Nice.
so all of that was tailored with knowing the indie model and how to make the indie model.
Nice.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
amazing. Amazing. So like one of the big standout things in it is you did get somebody with a name in your film. Chandler Riggs is the lead character and he does a great job. He does such a good job being that boyfriend. Like he really nailed the like he's a nice guy, but like
But
you
failure
know,
in some other ways, and like
yeah.
just doesn't even know where he's getting it wrong.
Oh God,
And
and that's
yeah.
so hard to pull off as an actor. He does it. It is a perfect example of marquee casting where you've got the right actor in the right role. It's not a stunt. It really is. He is a good fit for this role. Like, how did you get him?
Yeah. Well, I'd love to kind of just get into the casting process and kind of build the Chandler because I think it'll help explain
Okay.
how the heck he came to be on this project.
Okay.
It didn't
Okay,
just
great.
show up out of nowhere. And so
Okay.
let me start by saying my casting expectations for this film were modest at best. I thought we'd get maybe like a semi-recognizable TV actor for the dad character. I was like, maybe we'll get like a dad who was on, a famous TV show from when I was a kid to play the dad. Like that was kind of the ceiling
That was your big, yeah.
I was hoping for. But I did know a thing or two about this process. And one of the things I knew was a casting director is an essential part of this puzzle. And I think a lot of people think, oh, I'll just do the casting myself. I have an IMDb Pro account. I can get a hold of them. And think about from an agent's perspective or a manager's perspective, if you see a Gmail come in and it's just some random person, think about how many dozens of those they get a day and how uninteresting that appeals. Whereas a casting director gives you a sense of credibility and structure that you're going through the normal processes. And so suddenly you're already operating on a level that's a little bit above what most indie filmmakers do. And it's not a budget buster either. It's like hiring another crew member, a DP or whomever you're going to hire. It's so I think that was the first thing that was really essential to the process. And then, sorry, are you hearing all that? So,
It's hysterical.
Okay. I'm glad it's funny. Yeah. Sorry.
It's like the scene in Scrooge. Stop with the damn hammering.
Yeah. Oh man. So we'll see what I might get a really like if I mute myself suddenly, like just take over for a sec.
He's like, now we got a bandsaw going.
Yeah. It might be Murphy's Law again. Casting director was important, and then I think one of the interesting things that they start you with is they say, go ahead and make and I had 6 characters, and it was really important to have, again, like you mentioned, it's an ensemble piece, and there's no real small role in it. And I think that was appealing to people. We're not kind of casting people to like show up for a day and leave. Everybody kind of needed to be there for all 3 weeks of production, and so that.
Wow. Okay.
And if you break down the script, there truly are no small roles. It's like every single person has about the same amount of screen time lines of dialogue and all that. It's so,
and arcs. They have the same arcs and stuff. They all go through
They'll have a
something
good arc,
together. They really do.
So there was appeal for kind of anyone to be involved in it. And so one of the first steps of the process is the casting director says, go ahead and make a pie in the sky wish list, forget about budget, just to give me some archetypes that you're looking for. And one of the tenets I was really, really firm on was for my lead actors, they needed to be the right age. And you see a lot of movies where it's a 30-year-old playing a 19-year-old or something to that effect. And I was very adamant that the characters need to be ages 22 to 25. And I knew that I would get so much more mileage out of this breakup if they were the correct age. And yes, you can pull off some miracles with hair and makeup and things like that. But that was kind of one of my North Stars with casting. And that ended up being really a great way to kind of narrow the field, because as I'm making my wish list, I'm looking for actors in a very narrow region of space. And so I'm making my list, and not that many actors have kind of reached a level of stardom when they're that age. So what am I looking at? I'm looking at mostly teen actors who have been in stuff in their teenage years and are now the right age, like just based on the math of their age, the right age for the character.
Oh wow, yeah.
Okay.
And so I'm making my list, and I'm looking at some of my favorite movies, and one of my favorite movies is Captain Fantastic. Captain Fantastic is an indie movie starring Viggo Mortensen. He got an Oscar nomination for it. It premiered at Sundance, and it has 6 young actors in it. and one of them is named Samantha Isler. And I did a little bit of math, and she's the right age for the she's the right age for the character. And we reach out to Samantha, and she's very interested. It's a
Okay.
case of
Okay.
let's look at it from her perspective. Her last movie she did was at her senior year of high school. She was in Molly's Game, starring Jessica Chastain, and she played the young Molly. Samantha lives in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and she had taken a little bit of time off to go to college and do all that. Now she's looking to make her first role as a young adult actress, and suddenly she gets an email. Her agent gets an email, and it's checking all of her boxes.
Yeah.
It's
That's
her first time
awesome.
being a romantic lead. It's her first time out of the teenage roles, and now she's in her early 20s, and all these things are kind of happening. Thankfully, or graciously, Samantha was willing to do an audition and just do it like the normal process. And her audition was just absolute dynamite. It was just, and
Oh,
and
wow.
you've seen the film, and Tara,
She's
you kind of
phenomenal,
She's
yeah.
so
highlighted
good.
her.
Yeah.
And it was just like, oh man, like dreams coming true right here. Like we've got this amazing actress who's in one of my favorite movies. Imagine, and I have a YouTube channel, and I'd done a whole video about Captain Fantastic. So imagine you guys do a video.
You're fangirling now.
Yeah.
Imagine you do a
Yeah.
video analyzing like one of your favorite movies, and then your feature debut,
Yeah.
she's sent you an audition tape, and it's
Yeah.
absolute dynamite. And we looked at a lot of that role. Cassie was very amenable. Like I had many great auditions, but she was just kind of one level above the rest.
Wow.
And so it's like,
Yeah.
okay, we have an amazing lead actress, and that's going to come into play in a second here. And so now we're building out the rest of our ensemble. And so then the next two to kind of come into the picture were through the traditional casting process, meaning you send out a big auditioning for these are the parts. This is the arc, looking for an actress ages 50 to 60 to play a mom character.
Which, yeah, I'm going to really quick run off the casting on here. So Chandler Riggs was your lead male. Samantha Isler we had as our lead female. I'm going to skip ahead for you a little bit there. You can go and touch on each of these though too. James Urbaniak, is that how you say his last?
Urbaniak, yeah.
Urbaniak, that's the dad.
Urbaniak, okay.
And
He's so good.
he's a known commodity as well.
Yeah.
Like Oppenheimer and a couple other things. Once you see his face, you're like, I know that
Yeah,
guy.
Yeah,
he's
you're like,
one of
I
those
know that guy. Yeah.
recognizable faces. So we kind of put out our casting call, and that's where I get Brooke Hogan, who plays the mom, Mia, and she was local to Oregon. She's one of those people. This is her second career. She was, she worked in real estate. She's a mom, all this stuff, and she just had the best audition tape you've ever seen.
She's
Like,
so good.
Truly.
She nailed it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that was like, we did callbacks as a formality, but we knew we were going with Brooke.
Oh,
Like,
yay.
Yeah.
she crushed it. And so that was a
Yeah.
case of, I say that because I think for actors who are listening, it's like, if you have a killer audition tape, you can cut above the rest. Like we were not going to look for a famous actress for that part. We found that character, she crushed it, moving to the next.
Oh wow, yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. Nice.
Carly Stewart, who plays Liz, the younger sister, kind of a different story. Now I mentioned I was so firm on the age thing. I was like, they got to be the right age. So I was like, we got to have a 19-year-old playing Liz, the 19-year-old sister.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you how old Carly is, but she is not 19. She's in her, when we cast her, she was in her mid-20s, and it was a case of she proved me wrong. I actually needed for that role, I needed someone with the maturity to be able to play 19 as a character, not as I'm literally in the 19-year-old headspace. And
Oh, yeah.
Carly had been through college. She had been through that period of her life. And so she could bring a perspective on it. And in our audition tapes, in our callbacks, she was really good at feedback, and was able to we tried a bunch of different stuff that had nothing. I wasn't even going to use it for the film, but just gave me a sense of she's versatile, she can listen to direction, and she was kind of a cut above the other 19-year-olds I was looking at. But I proved myself wrong, and that's important to have your plan, but be ready to then pivot and move as you see fit. And so And it's her first feature also. So this was a
Oh,
huge.
is it?
Oh,
Yes.
wow.
For Brooke
Okay.
and Carly, it's their debut feature, and
I knew it
I
was
got
Brooke because we got that
two.
during the interview with her
Yes.
and she was just a doll. As she was like, "This is my first feature," we're like, "Oh, what?"
Yeah,
Like-
no, I know. And now she's been in it one more last year, and yeah, they both got. And Carly's in a horror feature coming out at some point. They've
All
Oh,
already
yay.
right. All right.
So they've got their life ahead of them, great careers ahead,
Mhm.
and that brings me to James Urbaniak, who I know is a favorite of Natalie's. And
Mhm.
when you're looking at, I had in mind, oh, we'll get a great dad character, and believe it or not, and I'm not going to tell you who, but I auditioned a notable dad from a TV show that I know you two watched in your childhood, and
Okay.
I was like, oh, yes, we got it, like exactly what I'm looking for. His audition tape was awful. He was asleep at the wheel. He did not
Oh,
give a shit and
phoned
why?
it in.
Why?
Yeah.
Because he played a dad on TV for 100
Yeah.
episodes. Why would he
Yeah.
want to play a dad in a silly little indie movie in Oregon when he's
Mhm.
done that
Yeah.
for years? So, one of the biggest things that you're going to take away from this whole thing is if you want to get a great cast, you need to give them something they cannot get anywhere else that's going to push them
Mhm.
forward in their careers.
Yeah.
Let's look at James
Okay. Yeah.
Urbaniak. James Urbaniak is a textbook character actor. I'll be honest, I was not familiar with his body of work prior to casting him. I've now went and seen like just about every single movie he's been in.
Mhm.
But he was looking for, or rather, he sent an audition tape, and he had never been just cast as like the dad in a movie before.
Oh.
He's usually like
Oh.
the scientist, or Dwight's nerdy friend in The Office,
Yeah.
something like that. And so
Right.
this was actually something that he could push forward and do something new for that is
Mhm.
versatile for him. And double bonus, he came up in the indie world. Hal Hartley discovered him in the 90s, and this is his, he was a New York 90s actor who, he had the same manager as Philip Seymour Hoffman in the 90s, and
Mhm.
just kind of came up through that early 90s
Wow.
world of indie film. And so he had a kinship and a respect for it. And this is my favorite part of it. I saw his audition tape. It was great. It was so different than I expected. I think a lot of the dad characters kind of winked and nodded took it to as
Mm.
like, I'm a goofy dad, ha ha ha, and
Yeah.
he
Oh,
didn't.
yeah.
He played it with sincerity, and that was sort of such a core tenet of what was going to make this movie work. We were
Mhm.
going for something more like a Ladybird, where it's like you're not making jokes, like you're just playing it straight,
This
and
is
it will.
life. Yeah.
This is life, and we'll
It is
find the
funny.
humor in it.
Just it's life. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and he was just absolutely phenomenal.
So
Mhm.
good.
Yeah, and then that night, it was around Christmas time, 2022. My mom and I are going to see The Fabelmans that night, and I see his IMDb, and he's in The Fabelmans, Steven Spielberg's movie, and I was like, Mom, we got to watch out for the principal, because I just watched an audition tape from him, and he comes in like 2 hours into the movie, and I love that movie. It was one of my favorite nights at the movies with my mom. And then there's this
Aw.
guy, and he's in Spielberg's movie, and I was just
Yeah.
like, man,
It's so
this
cool.
is some absolute credibility, kind of like what you're sort of hoping to do
Mhm.
with Marquee Casting. And unbeknownst to us, he had already shot Oppenheimer, and he was also in that
Oh.
movie.
Yeah.
And on set, I was like, "You're in Oppenheimer," and he was like, "I don't want to say it yet because I might be cut. I was only in one day of filming." He was
Oh.
nervous.
Oh,
He was gonna
yeah.
get cut, and he was like, "The
Sure.
cast is out the door. It's got every famous male actor of our generation. And so
Yeah.
he was not
Yeah.
sure he was going to be in it until like 2 weeks before they released that movie, and
Oh,
when they
wow.
announced the final cast list. And
So wait, so now you've got someone from one of your favorite movies, and now you've got someone who's worked with Spielberg and like
yes.
signed on to your movie. Like, as your first time director, are you freaking out?
This is why I'm building the story this way, because I've never gotten to tell the story as a whole, because it's like, holy shit, we have ourselves a movie here,
Yeah.
and it's like, it's not just Nelson's indie project. And I credit my producers for elevating. Like, we originally had a very shoestring budget concept, and then they're like,
Mhm.
if we go a little bit higher, we're going to need to do SAG anyway, and once you do SAG, it just becomes expensive in different ways.
It's a whole different beast.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I often get the question, what was the thing that made your movie, like, what was the budget buster? And there wasn't a budget buster. It was very much death by 1,000 paper cuts, like a lot of little things. But again,
Yeah.
we kept it
$1,000
really,
$20 paper cuts.
exactly, yeah. And it's not, our goal was to make a movie that felt like you could pop it on Amazon and you would not know it was made for well under $1 million, well under
Right.
$1 million, so whereas I think a lot of people, a lot of those indie movies feel like they were made for $20,000, and let's be
Yeah.
real, how often
Yeah.
do we watch movies of people we don't know made for that kind of budget
Yeah.
level? And so
Yeah.
but yeah, and the casting is one of the things to do it. Your job as filmmakers, you're trying to get people to see your movie, and what do people want to see? They want to see something with somebody they might recognize. And
Yep.
and we're gonna come now. That actually is really good to our last two. So the character of Gordon, who is the older brother, was always going to be a really fun character to get into. And I auditioned 50 years or more great options for Gordon. Some of them were not as good, but I had many options. I had kind of the more like, he was a jock who was burnt out Gordon. I had like the
Oh.
scrawny, wiry
Oh.
incel Gordon. I had like every type of Gordon you could think
Okay.
of, because it
Oh.
was like a scene chewing character, And
Yeah.
Jacob Wysocki is a comedian. He lives in LA, and I did not know him very well, but he
I
did not
see
go.
him everywhere now. I
Now,
don't mean
yes.
like in real life. On
Oh,
my
no,
on my
we're-
television
Oh
everywhere
no,
now.
we're coming at that. Yes,
Yeah.
and that's like, so Jacob. He had been in a couple indie movies, and I knew him because he was in the same comedy troupe called Bath Boys with a Chapman guy named Peter Gilroy. And so
Okay.
he was one of those guys I would see at a party like 2 or 3 times. Like I would just see him like 50 feet away at a party, be like, oh yeah, that guy's in like some comedy stuff, like, and I didn't really know him personally. But Steven, my producer, had worked with him and did know him on a, first name basis kind of thing, and sent him the script. And this was a case of like, we'll just see if it's his cup of tea. We're not like,
Yeah.
Going on that. And we had a Zoom call, and he just got it. Like he just understood it. He loved it. And so it was a case of what we call like offer only, meaning like he didn't need to send an audition tape and all that. Like he's got enough of a clout, and it was giving him something he doesn't normally get offered, because normally he gets offered lowest common denominator junk comedy. And this was,
Yeah.
I was not asking him to be a comedian. He's hilarious, and he is one
Yeah.
of the funniest parts of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But he is playing a 3-dimensional character, and that,
Yeah.
Yeah, very
this
much
is
so.
how
Like he
appealing it was
is
to
a
him.
comedic relief. Yeah.
yes, he's comedic relief, but he's playing it
But-
straight. He's not like fourth wall breaking, things like that.
Right.
Yeah, his
And,
character is so well defined and has such a great arc. Like it's such a good meaty role for a comedian to take. It was he did such a perfect job doing it. He nailed
Incredible, just case of just brains melding, and he lit that character up, and there are lines that were not funny on the screenplay but were hilarious based on delivery. And again, if you cast great actors, you're gonna rise up above as a result. Just one little anecdote on why, like, he had a Vietnam trip scheduled, booked, all that, and he canceled it to be in our movie because
Oh,
he
wow.
loved the
Wow.
Because he
role.
liked it. Yeah.
And
Because
Yeah.
I imagine he gets offered Chris Farley-esque,
Yes.
Yes.
and if you offer someone who is a Chris, I mean that kind of, I mean, what I say was it Farley, like the reason he was so depressed was because he wanted to be a serious actor and no one would give him the time of day. Like
Oh, I
he
didn't know
always
that.
had to do,
Yeah.
and so it killed him. Well, literally.
Yeah, literally. No,
yeah.
I think,
But-
yeah, I didn't, again, when we're talking about indie casting, it's like Jacob, he said on our Zoom, he's like, I can make cheddar change doing, the big funny guy roles, and so it's like, what can you give him that you don't have?
The else. Yeah, that's
Oh,
such
yay,
a good it's a good thing to remember as filmmakers, like making your characters these great character roles with full things, and that can get you the talent you're looking for, because these these small roles, even the brother role is a meaty, fantastic, well-formed character for an actor to play.
Correct. And I think that's where, again, I have no pedigree, but I had never made a feature. So what are they trusting? They're trusting the screenplay, the material, and what they can do from there. And so that's, I think, when you're thinking about marquee casting, first thing you need to think about is a screenplay that gives actors something to sink their teeth into.
Yeah.
And which brings us to the final casting member of our. So we were auditioning. I auditioned every single, aspiring actor under 25 to be, Ben, the lead character. And we had Samantha right from the get-go. We had Sammy. And so I was looking at these guys who were amateurs essentially, and I was like, oh my gosh, we are gonna like she's gonna just steamroll them, and we need
Yeah.
someone who
Yeah.
can go toe to toe with them. And we had reached out to a couple like people of modest levels, but not we hadn't really like pursued that for real. We had one notable actor who I did speak with and met with to talk for that role, and it wasn't his role. And he's a terrific actor. I've befriended him since, but it wasn't his project. And now we're down. Let's talk about timeline. We are now 2 to 3 weeks away from filming this movie,
Oh, wow.
and we have
Wow.
everybody. We did all the casting in December and January, and we're shooting in February. And I'm losing a lot of sleep these nights, and it's just like, oh my
Wow.
gosh, like we don't have anyone for our lead character, top of the call sheet, and it's like, oh baby. So but my casting director, to her credit, she was like, well, look, I'm a perfectionist. We're gonna stay through this till we get just the right
Mm-hmm.
person. And I was on board with that, and we just hadn't quite congealed it. We had a contingency plan who was a young man who had never been in anything before, but it just wasn't gonna. Again, I was so nervous of just like the
Yeah.
levels.
Yeah.
So at this point, we make a list of kind of the next level. Let's level up a little bit. Let's just shoot for the sky and see what happens. And
Okay.
top of that list is Chandler Riggs. And in case you're not familiar with Chandler Riggs, he did 100 episodes of The Walking Dead, and he kind of grew up on that show. And it was obviously a huge phenomenon, and it was his life from ages 10 to 18 years old. So, so first of all, it's amazing because having not seen a lot of Walking Dead, I could easily access and see. I didn't need him to submit an audition tape because I had drama right there. And so I remember writing back. We made that list, and he was the top of our little list of like 8 actors of sort of that level of pedigree. And I sort of wrote notes about each one. And for Chandler, I wrote, he's probably too big for us, but sure, why not? Let's try it.
Yeah.
Chandler bites. He's interested because he loves the script, like we talked about, and he's never offered straight romantic dramas. All he gets offered is zombie sci-fi crap. And
Yeah, I bet.
Oh,
the sort of
yeah.
running joke we have is like he'll say this a lot of our festival Q&As. This is the first screenplay he'd ever been offered where nobody dies in the movie.
There you
So-
go.
And so he was willing to take a meeting and sort of
Yeah.
talk further about. Go ahead and say
Well,
response or
yeah. So I think a big takeaway here, beyond just like having a really well written character for someone, it almost won't even matter if it's not something that's going to move the needle for them. Like they want to have something that is new for them. They want to play the straight man. They want to play the dad. They want to play so when you're thinking about those next level people,
yeah.
and who you might be able to reach for, think about somebody who is a good actor but doesn't necessarily get these roles, doesn't get to play the romantic comedy, or only plays romantic comedy
Correct.
and wants to move into an action or whatever it happens to be.
I think that's the big takeaway is like if you offer a horror scream queen a horror scream queen role, she's going to be uninterested. Why? Because
Yeah.
she can make bank doing that for the big dogs.
Yeah.
Well, what can she not do? She probably doesn't get offered rom-coms because the studio system is very quarterly reports and like Tom Hardy sells action movies.
Right.
That's the way they work, and it's not creative. It's pure business. And so indie films are the space to give actors the creative space, because here's the secret that should be obvious: actors want to act. They want to do fun stuff, and they want to do stuff. So back to Chandler, this is the last reason that I think we really aced him is that when you're a kid on a big TV show like Walking Dead, you don't get to hang out on set. You do your small role, and then you get shipped to your trailer to then do school, and you do school all day, and then it's like, okay, now it's time to do you, and you go right back. And
Wow.
then when it's wrap time, you can't go to the bar. You're under 21. You got to go home. And so all day long, you're one of the peers with people until wrap time, and then
Until the fun things.
until you don't get to go. And
Yeah.
so what does an indie film offer? Chandler is a filmmaker himself. He is a pretty talented camera guy, and he loves the process, and he's done short films, he's done music videos, he
Okay.
writes, all this stuff. So guess what he got to do on Breakup season? he got to riff with the DP and ask him, why are you using this lens? And hang out with the G&E team and ask them why they were doing this.
Oh,
And so this
On-set
is
film
something.
school.
that's
Yes.
so sweet.
And
Yeah.
we become good friends at this point. He spent a day kind of shadowing me edit the film just because he wanted to like see what the heck it was all about and what that's like.
Wow.
So that's something that is priceless that you cannot get on a big studio film. There's no way
Yeah.
he could do that on Walking Dead or something like that.
Right.
And
Yeah, you're
um,
distracting and yeah.
Nobody has
that's
time for you, kid.
amazing.
and so
Right.
those-
Well, and honestly, like hearing that story and his perspective and where he's at, just like wanting to learn, despite the fact that he is this big name that's was on 100 episodes of one of the biggest shows culturally that's come across our desk in 10 years.
Yeah.
Like that just, I love him so much more now that he is just such a get in there and do it, indie, humble, I'm learning too kind of guy. Like I now deeply appreciate him. Like that's so cool to hear.
No, totally. I unfortunately the scene got cut and it's on their Blu-ray deleted scenes, but there was a day where I was outside filming Samantha doing a car scene and we were losing daylight. So Chandler went in and he directed a scene just because someone had to do it. And he was the lead and he was like, I need the camera here, and he took over and just
Oh,
did that.
wow.
Oh my
So,
God, that's
yeah.
so cool.
And that's the
that's
kind of
awesome.
thing. It was on the last
Cool.
day of filming. It was day 15 of 15, and it was like by this point we've built ourselves our little family. We have trust, and
Oh
he
my
knows what I'm
gosh.
after. And
I
that's
love
but
that.
that's the kind of guy. I mean, Chandler's a team player, and he was certainly a leader on the project, but he got a lot out of it too. And I think that's the biggest takeaway is like you need to, if you want to get an actor of note, you're not going to be able to pay them a lot. You're not going to be able to, give them whatever else they need to get. So what can you give them? And it's this, priceless experience
Yeah.
happening here.
And
And I
a
think
role that they're not normally going to get. People, the big, those are reserved for someone else who's already fits that box. Like, no,
Yes.
here, let me give you the
Yeah.
chance to play that
yes.
character. That's
So when
awesome.
you look at all 6 of the actors, what's the big through line? They all got something new in their career for the first time.
Yeah.
And that looks very different for Brooke and Carly being their first feature, James, who's been in 100 features, Chandler and Samantha, first time being romantic leads. But that's
Yeah.
the through line.
And so that's honestly, it's kind of interesting because that sounds like that could fall into stunt casting really easily. Like instead of the marquee casting, you could have just, if you would have done what other people do where they've grabbed the YouTube star who has the name and has the draw to get people to watch their stuff, then now, or I guess not YouTube anymore, nobody's a YouTube star, the TikToker.
TikTok, yeah.
The TikToker, yes.
But when you
yes.
grab those, then you are stunt casting and you're filling them in there and your movie sucks. Like, I mean, not that they don't, there's exceptions to every rule.
Of course.
But when you're doing this and you're finding people that are a good lateral move to move over and are just upping their game one, or, I mean, often in LA with doing crewing up, you're giving someone a chance to go from a first AD to a director. You're giving them the chance to
Yeah.
go from, a lead or a key or whatever. Yeah.
That transcends our departments too. Our DP
Yeah.
is a career first AC. He worked on Pig
Mhm.
and Sing Sing and some very big
Oh,
films.
wow. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
No, total union AC, but this is his he's only done like 4 or 5 indie features as a DP. And so I think that's the other way, it does transcend casting of like you're not going to be able to pay people a lot and you're asking for a lot of people. So what can you give them? And it's that you can have them an opportunity to step up. And now, for most of the people involved in this project, it's all over their websites and their portfolios because they got to, and I got to level up as a director and reach a whole new height because of that. And so I'm
Yeah.
giving everybody else in our world the same ability to kind of
Wow.
take a notch
Right,
up. And,
yeah.
and that is most obvious with the cast. And I do want to talk about the schedule thing with it because that's important too. But it transcends to crew and all that as well.
So yeah, so did that end up, because now you have all these names of people you have working actors.
Yeah.
Did that, is that what you're saying? Is that they ended up having
so
issues?
This is the other secret with that is that I think people when we talk about like getting someone attached to a movie, that's a very different story than what I did. So, the way you make a movie like Baby Girl is early on Nicole Kidman gets attached and then the money comes in based on hanging the hat on A-lister Nicole Kidman can sell a movie and dollars and cents she's going to make this movie happen. Indie movies, it's a different sauce. It's a whole different approach. And so you're actually kind of trying to run the clock as long as you can. Why? Because if you're James Urbaniak, you might get offered an Apple TV show or a Netflix. He's on Palm Royale. He was on History of the World Part 2. But if it's January 15th and you're getting offered a completed feature done by February 28th, why not take it? Because, I don't have anything lined. I would know by now if I had a Hulu show or a Netflix show lined
Oh,
up.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a
So
really good point.
with all these cast members, you're actually trying to push it as late as you can because they're not attached in the way Nicole Kidman and Baby Girl is. They are looking for, in 3 weeks, I can bang out a feature. I can probably win an award. I mean, they didn't know this at the time, but like I can win an acting award at a film festival. I can, get a lot of good pedigree. I can meet an incredible, cast and crew. And I can have that done. And now it's February 28th, second month of the year. And I've already, cooked my, my first feature of the year. And Chandler, oh man, we didn't get him fully signed and booked until 6 days before day one of filming. So
Wow.
talk
Yeah.
about a buzzer beater.
That's
But if you want to make indie movies, you have to believe in miracles.
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow.
Absolutely. Like, because it's gonna work out. You just don't know how yet. You gotta just take faith,
Correct.
take that step out, and
Wow.
the floor will meet you some way or another.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was a case of, Chandler, he booked 2 more features later that year, but we were offering it to him right up to the cusp
Right.
of, he
Yeah.
didn't have anything in February and he could do it. And, we had
That's really
just
good
a
to know.
couple schedule things on either end, but we were able to schedule it so that, we did a couple scenes without Chandler on our day one, so to speak. And that was fine because we had to set up the lighting for the whole house and all
Right.
that stuff
Yeah.
too.
Right.
So that was it. Yeah.
I'll say that's true of indie in general. We've done a couple indie things that are just short films that, not our own, but we're working with someone else where they're planning way too far in advance and they're booking even just their crew. And as it comes around
Yeah.
to that time where we're supposed to be shooting, we're replacing our sound guy, we're replacing our blah, blah, because they have booked something that pays them. And
Way more. Yeah.
no,
I've had this conversation so many times with directors who are like, I've got these people. I'm like,
No.
great, but it's a year away. What are you
Yeah.
doing?
And there's no I'm not saying anything negative about the people who go and get on something
No.
else. That's the nature of the business. If we all know that if we're offering you less than whatever is industry standard or you can make on the big thing, we know you have to take it.
Yes.
So the best
You
thing
have
we
to
can
take
do
it,
for
yeah.
you is to not try to book you on it 2 years in advance and then
Yes,
expect you
yeah.
to honor that commitment.
Yeah.
Right.
Be
And that
cool
was
with
the
it. Like
lesson I
it's
learned from talking to the casting director was like, I was like, we got to get XYZ. And I was, Zooming with them in September and they're like, we might,
too early.
but we need to wait till January. And, and that was how it
I
went.
might back
Wait.
out of our film, Tara.
Oh. Well, no. And speaking of the casting director, like when you're building these lists out that you're making, and like I know you made probably the initial list of like this is what I'm thinking and feeling. Who else is involved in like adding names to that list? Did your producer ever get involved? Did your casting director go, oh, and also
Who put Chandler Riggs on the list?
yeah,
Did you?
like yeah.
That was no. So we had, it was sort of an all hands on deck with the producers. And one of my producers, Liana, has, she's a member of SAG and she has that background too. So she has kind of that angle that she really enjoys that process. So it was definitely like all hands contributing, but ultimately I as director, I got the privilege of final say and, and all that. And so, but Chandler, I don't remember who put Chandler on the list. But he was on my radar, and part of why I liked Chandler so much is that most actors of that pedigree who are 23 years old came up on like Disney Channel or doing comedy stuff. Chandler was on a hardcore serious drama, and I needed my 2 leads to be dramatic actors first. And so that's where all the kind of humor and all the fun from the movie comes from, a drama first, comedy second approach, a la Lady Bird or Worst Person in the World or the other movies that I was having them watch before we shot the film to think about and channel as we were making this movie. So,
Wow.
Very cool. Very cool.
yeah.
Man, you don't think of the adventure of building out your cast as being this like epic tale, but it really was this like an epic adventure, and like going down to the line like that for your lead character, it makes sense. Like talking about the scheduling situation, like of course, but like that's a nail biter of a story you got there.
Well, that's why I wanted. Thank you for giving me the
Yeah.
opportunity to share it in full. Because usually, what happens at Q&As at festivals is I get to tell the story of whomever I'm with that day. So if I'm with
Right.
Chandler, I tell Chandler. If I'm with
Yeah.
Brooke, I tell Brooke. But this is the first time I've kind of put it in a book, basically. So thank you for
Yeah.
And I know you're like, well, we want to hear about Chandler, but it's like no, but Chandler builds on. Without Sammy, we wouldn't have Chandler. It's all part of the
Right.
same,
Yeah.
equation.
Oh, it
essentially.
makes so much sense now hearing the full story. Like that was such a a fun little journey to go on with you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so before we wrap it up, I know there's some new things happening for breakup season, right? We've got, I mean, tell me about what is a vinyl?
Yes. So it's a little bit of just like a punch it, let's do something crazy and all that. But we are attempting to release the soundtrack onto vinyl.
Oh,
but
that's so
love it.
something like
fun.
this. It's a great soundtrack from the Pacific Northwest, all Oregon, Idaho, and Washington music. But right now, this is just a piece of cardboard. We have, we have to hit our
Good for you.
Kickstarter goal before.
Okay, I want
before we do that.
one.
So,
The music's
yeah, no,
really good.
Yeah.
There was a song and there's like, oh, I need to put this on my Spotify playlist for fall. Like the music's fantastic.
So is
I
it
want
a,
one.
it's a Seed and Spark? Is it a
It's
what
a
is
Kickstarter,
it?
yeah.
Kickstarter,
And
okay.
the reason
Okay.
we're doing Kickstarter is because it's a totally like we so don't need to do this, like no one is asking us to put it on vinyl. But I had seen another indie movie do it, and I was like, this can't be that complicated. And I looked into it, and it's like, yeah, it costs money, duh, but like
Yeah.
it's not. People do it, and indie labels
Oh.
do it,
Yeah.
and so
Oh, that's
Yeah.
so much fun.
I'm gonna go. I looked at the Kickstarter a couple days ago. I was like, I'm gonna go get a
And
little.
yeah, I love
I want because I
vinyl,
want
too.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love vinyl. I want one now. So
yeah, well, appreciate that.
If
So,
you want to do audience out there, if you want to do that, go check out the Instagram account, which we're going to talk about in a second. If you're live with us on the podcast right now, go to the description below and check it out. The link for you is there.
yeah,
Wait,
and
I
if you're
have-
not a vinyl person, this is also the launch of our Blu-rays and DVDs, so it
Okay.
chance to kind of get first access to that, which has our Blu-ray has some exclusive bonus features, a director's commentary, deleted scenes, and
I'm gonna
a
watch
feature-
you
that.
go.
I
and
want
a
to watch
feature
that now.
about how the heck we pulled
Yeah.
this off. That's exclusive to the Blu-ray.
Oh, I'm in.
As well
wanna-
as some holiday merch and all that jazz.
I want to interrupt the timeline for a second
Do it.
and go off topic here.
Yeah,
So
please.
wait, because I think this is so cool. What is this Oregon Trail of Films thing that you guys are attached to?
What?
This is yeah,
Oh,
this
yeah.
is so cool.
Okay,
Wait,
yeah. So
What?
So let's talk about just in a 10-second Oregon Film is incredibly supportive of independent movies, and that's part of where this whole origin story came from. And just quickly, because Tara and Natalie are film festival buffs, and I share that kinship, and this movie was born from a love of film festivals. I attended the Eastern Oregon Film Festival in La Grande, Oregon, small town I'd never heard of in rural Eastern Oregon, with a short film in 2019. And to make a very long story short, I got connected with the festival. I enjoyed it. And the festival director was right around that time. He was like, well, we're looking to start a filmmaker residency program. And I was like, ding, ding, ding. That's exactly what I want to do. And so I really dogged him about it. I followed up about it very persistently. Long story short, I was one of the first 6 filmmakers selected to be part of this inaugural filmmaker residency program where you spent a month in La Grande writing screenplays with the hopes of shooting and making a movie in La Grande, Oregon. And
I want to do that.
yeah,
That's
and
so cool.
that was, so that allowed all that like grit and texture that's in the Breakup season screenplay. That's, that's really some like in jokes for the Lagrandians and like the locations we found and all that was born from a month of really immersing myself in that community.
I wondered what, like, it's such a specific place, it's such a specific vibe, and I was like, did he grow up in La Grande or something? Like,
Yeah, I
he's
mean,
really
that's-
doing a good job of like making me feel like I'm there. Like, he must be from there or something?
That's my
Okay.
favorite compliment of like it should feel like that, even though yes, I have no ties to La Grande, and so and then part of it.
Whoa.
No, yeah. Well, now it's like my
I'm
home away
impressed.
from now my producers joke that I'm secretly running for mayor of La Grande, which
Heck yeah, heck
Oh
yeah.
my God. No,
but-
you do a great job at like, I want to go visit now. Like, you do a really good job of like honoring the vibe in the town. Like, I want to go stay in a little cabin that's all snowed in and not have to do anything and just go into town and buy some trains. I don't know. It sounds
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. So then that brings us to meanwhile, part of that residency is I'm also looking at Oregon from a pragmatic film perspective, and Oregon film is incredibly indie film friendly. Just to give you some, if you're familiar with like the tax rebate programs, most states you need to clear $1 million spending to get a rebate. In Oregon, it's 75,000, so way more attainable for an indie film like ours. And
Okay.
so
Yeah.
now the wheels are a turning, and I'm like, oh my gosh, we can make this movie out here. And then just for icing on the cake, Oregon has something that's the first of no other states. Now a few other states have versions of this, but they were the first to do this thing called the Oregon Film Trail, which is placards around the state of notable movie locations from famous movies. And this started because so many people go to Astoria, Oregon to see The Goonies and
Yeah.
Kindergarten Cop, which were both shot in Astoria. And so they put up signs for those two movies just to be like, this is where we did. And then they put up Twilight shortly after, and it was like game over. Like people were flocking to see Twilight or whatever. And so LeGrand has very few movies have been shot out there. The last like bona fide, big feature that was shot out there was 1969 Paint Your Wagon starring Clint Eastwood. And there is a
Wow.
sign for that about 2 hours outside of LeGrand where, we're in Anthony Lakes, the ski resort, they have a placard for Paint Your Wagon. But so we're kind of wrapping, and I was aware of the Oregon Film Trail, and I of course loved it and thought it was neat. But
It's so fun.
we're on their festival tour, we're doing minding our business, and I get an email from Union County, Oregon, the county where we shot the movie, and they're like, we want to put up a sign for Breakup season in downtown LeGrand and celebrate this movie permanently.
I love
that's
it.
fun.
I love
That's
it.
so
My
cool.
only thing was I was like, I'm gonna be bringing all the cast back for our Eastern Oregon Film Festival premiere. Can we possibly do it while we're all there? And they pulled out some levers and rushed some things, and this is what you can do when you're not in Los Angeles, not
Right.
using LA
Oh, yeah.
film or whatever.
Mhm.
They yanked all kinds of stuff to make it happen, and we had a ribbon cutting ceremony. I surprised the cast; they had no idea that this was going to be up there. In
Oh,
time.
that's so
that's
cool.
so fun.
And it's an amazing, like, I got an email from some bloggers, and they were like, we're blogging about movies in Oregon, and we want to do a whole piece on Breakup season because of that. And I was like,
Absolutely.
bam, it
Yeah.
does what it's supposed to do. And so I'm
Yay.
Yeah.
it's
I
Oh,
love that. I love
very
That's
special,
so
like-
fun.
so,
I
um,
love
yeah.
that. Oh gosh. Okay. Aside from your placard in Oregon,
it. How
where
people
can
find you?
where can the people find you?
yeah, if you're in LeGrand, you can find that. No,
Yeah, if you're in LeGrand, there's a plaque.
Mostly best places on Instagram. My personal Instagram is at Classic Nelson, and then the movie, we're still very much posting about the movie, and we're sort of gearing up for a big holiday 2025 season. So if you go to at Breakup Season Movie, you can find all kinds of goodies about
Mm-hmm.
about the film.
And what's Breakup season streaming on? Is it on anything right now?
It's on Amazon is probably the best place to do it. It's also on Tubi if you don't mind some ads. So Amazon and Tubi, it's kind of a everywhere and anywhere you can find
Situation. Yeah.
for
I
VOD.
watched my copy on Prime. I bought the film. I didn't
I
just rent
appreciate
it.
that.
I
That's
bought
what I'm
that
talking
film.
about.
Oh yeah, I
So-
paid the extra $3 and bought that movie. Yeah,
Oh,
I'm glad I did too. Actually, it's a holiday movie, so I'll probably put it on again for my parents. So I'm glad I
Yeah.
did.
Oh yeah.
That's
Yeah.
great. I appreciate that a lot. Yeah, no, I've
Perfect.
learned I'm curious about backend. Like Amazon is still the chief of like when you look at like where VOD comes in. Amazon
Yeah.
is the place that's most.
We may circle back with you when we get to distribution and all that stuff. Like you've done a really good job getting it out there, so we may circle back with you for distribution, guys. That's a way future
Way
That's a
episode.
future one. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I'm happy- I mean, I
We
think
could
it's
have an
just-
actual apocalypse by then, but
Oh man,
that
yeah,
is
no,
something that we can line it up for you.
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, y'all know film festivals really well, and I think there are these so many little details and stories, and I think that's what's kind of wild. And that's when we talk about the difference between like a short film and a feature film. It's like a short film is kind of like one brushstroke. It's like you do this one thing, but a feature film. This is 3 years of my life here, and
Yeah.
so this casting is one of these many episodes. And like when I look at where I am, it's like, damn, the world is a whole different place. It sort of rushed on by while I
Yeah.
was working on this thing, and all these little elements along the way.
Yeah.
Wow.
So fun, so
So
fun.
go watch the movie, and
Go watch
then
the
when you
movie.
love the movie, go order the vinyl.
Yep,
Yes.
yep.
And,
And then go
I always
follow
am
on
appreciative
Instagram.
Instagram.
Yeah.
Letterboxd. I love seeing the
Oh,
letterbox reviews.
Good on the
Ooh,
letterbox.
yeah.
Do the
So-
review on the letterbox. Help Nelson out.
Yeah, it's always.
Oh wait,
cool.
before we go, do you have anything? I didn't even think about this. Did you? What's next? You got anything lined up next yet?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh
So,
shoot, yeah.
So it was briefly alluded to on the pre-setup, but I happen to have just directed a music video, and
Yeah.
it happens to star Tara herself is in it. Has a
We got some
a
amazing
small but
photos.
mighty role in this.
I'm
in
so
this video.
excited.
Yes, and that launches September 19th, that Friday. We're doing a launch party the 18th in LA, and let's just say this: I booked that music video because of Breakup season. the music in the trailer is by Ray Isla, who is someone I met because she co-wrote a song in a movie called Ezra with Robert De Niro, a big movie.
Yeah, I know Ezra.
Got
Yeah.
that. She got that, and she co-wrote the song with a college classmate of mine, Adrian Ackerman. And so I went
Okay.
to Adrian's show. This is the month we were doing sound mix and finishing the movie. I went to Adrian's show. Guess who's also performing? Ray. Her music, she's from Washington, and I was like, this is it. This is what I'm looking for. And
Yeah.
so I found her music, and it was perfect for the trailer and what we were looking for vibe-wise. So when you watch the Breakup season trailer, it's her song, carries us all the way through the trailer. And it was a case of, and then we became really good friends. I mean, we have a very similar, like, go get them, make your own luck in this industry spirit. And so we've had a nice friendship. And as we were talking, she hit me up, and it's like about a month or two ago, and it's like, I'd love to have you direct a music video. And I was like,
That's awesome.
oh,
Yeah, I kind of actually wondered, like, I was like, I knew the connection, but I was like, I wonder how we circled back. Like, were they friends before? Yeah. Oh, that's so cool.
it's a case of,
She's
I don't
lovely.
even- yeah, she's lovely, and the song is great, and her music is just absolutely up my alley. And so, she's on the vinyl as well. And it's a case of, like, I think when you put a feature out there, you are doing something so much bigger than you've done. Like, amazing things come out of it because of that, and that would have never happened without.
Yeah.
So you're taking a big swing that then becomes,
Wow.
goes to the next. So
I just had to sidebar to our live audience. Ben Rathig just bought the Breakup season on Apple TV. So, Ben,
There you go.
enjoy.
amazing.
You're going to love it. You're going to love
Thank
it.
you.
Report
Amazing.
back next week. Ben.
Report back next week, Ben. I can't wait to hear your
Yeah,
feedback
I
on
know
it.
Ben. He's a Dubuque guy.
I was
Yeah,
like, Ben,
he is.
Yeah,
Ben,
yeah.
did you miss it when it was in Dubuque?
That was our first.
Somehow I did. Yeah.
It was our first sold out show. It was Dubuque, Iowa. I was very
Oh.
impressed. They had to bring in chairs from the outside. And
Nice.
It was,
Nice. Oh
that
yeah.
felt really good. And
I believe it. I believe it.
And that's where I
Yeah.
learned Natalie's axiom, which I stand by, which is, you don't become friends at film festivals until you meet someone at your second film festival. And
That's
then
the way it
you
works.
become
Then you're festy besties.
Besties. Proof. Did you know?
Proof.
Did you know that?
Proof.
Hold on.
Oh,
We're gonna sidebar.
This is the
Sidebar.
longest
I love
episode now.
sidebar.
I'm
No,
coming
do it.
away from the mic so I can yell.
Wait. Yeah.
Waco Independent, formerly Deep in the Heart, started
Yeah.
selling Festy Bestie merch the year after I was there. Did you see it there?
I saw that on
'Cause-
Instagram, and I was
yeah.
like, I didn't know it was official merch.
Oh,
I was like,
yeah.
oh, that's
Oh,
a
it-
Natalie
yeah.
ism,
It was.
so
And I was
copyright
like,
that shit.
Yes.
I had wallet because the year before you were there, I was there, and I had one best something and something. I don't know what it is.
Hey. Yeah.
But I won an
Actor.
acting thing. Yeah. And I got up there on the second time I was accepting an award, and I made a comment about my Festy Bestie table. And the next year they have Festy Bestie merch, and so I was like, nope, that was me. That's mine. All right. And I just
we
got
did-
second proof.
Yeah.
Lewis, if you're watching,
Lewis,
You
we did
coined
so
that
much
term.
shit talking to them. Like what? And they gave us shirts out of guilt.
Good. Yeah. No, I mean,
Shirts
that's,
and bracelets.
I know this is about casting, but I think y'all are proof of something that is really underappreciated. I get so many questions, and it kind of annoys me when people are like, "Are film festivals worth it?" And I'm like, it's so short-sighted, right? It's
Yes.
like, because some people say the only ones that really matter are like Sundance and South by, and it's like, well, then you're missing the
No.
forest from the trees. It's not
Yeah.
like, yes, if we go to Waco, we are not going to get acquired by Netflix. That is not happening. But if that's your goal with film festivals, you are doing it wrong, and you are missing the forest from the trees. And so I think
You're missing
y'all-
possibilities. Yeah.
and
That's
the amount of work and stuff I mean, Tara getting booked in the music video, that was purely because I saw y'all's post in Waco dressed as flight attendants, and I was like,
Right.
that's exactly
Yeah.
what I need.
I
you
think
know? So-
festivals are what you make of them. You
Yeah,
can go and
I
sit
agree.
sit in the corner and meet nobody, and for someone like me, I it's hard to like get ourselves out of it, which is why we wear the costumes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's hard not to sit in the corner and drink your beer by yourself. But if you do it and you meet people in the community, and you just never know what doors it might open,
Yeah.
or who you might meet that you need later on, that you want to cast, not just what's in it
Exactly.
for you, but
Oh,
you
yeah.
might later on use a director or a
Yeah.
cinematographer or whatever it is.
Yeah,
And
they
just
really
to
are
think-
what you make of them.
It's a think tank of like, you all know something I don't, and let's put our brains together, and I'm sharing this information, but at some point you're gonna know something I don't, and
Yeah.
certainly like not every single person you meet at a film festival is going to lead to this amazing thing, but it's like it's a numbers game, and
Well,
eventually,
and over time, your perspective and needs and course is going to change, and the festival game you're going to do is going to adjust as you keep going along. But so often, like so many directors I meet are like, so I want to Southwest, Tribeca, da, 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 da. I'm like, yes, those are great, amazing, nothing wrong with those festivals, but as far as like making more stuff with other people who are making stuff, like the smaller ones that you have to get on a plane and go to a town you've never heard of, those are the ones where like, hey, I might film in Dubuque, Iowa now. I met my DP in the middle of Oklahoma. Like that collaborative spirit. So I don't foresee myself aging out of festivals anytime soon, because there is just so much there that like a community there.
I have half of the stuff I do is based off of film festival. I mean, is based off of people I've met at film festivals.
Yeah.
So whether it is filming twice in Dubuque, I'm hosting Q&As for Desertscape. They called me up and asked me for that. I get half of my auditions because I live now near Desertscape, because Adam Mass posts about them. Like, I mean, it's just, what, it is what you make
It's what you make of it. It's what you make of it. Yeah.
and we look at our current kind of indie film landscape, where there is kind of a massive divide between
Yeah.
and there's also a kind of lack of understanding of what indie film really is. It's like the film festival circuit has been joyous to me. I started doing festival consulting also, where people reach out to me and they're like, help me figure out film festivals. And so I've sort of done that with a few. The first real case study I did was a movie called American Comic, which has now gotten into 9 film festivals. But they reached out because it was a friend of mine, and he was like, didn't get into Sundance, South by, and Tribeca.
Now what? Yeah.
And I was like, I got you. And then we they were a late submission, but we got them a premiere at Dances with Films. I emailed Dances, and I was just like, hey, I think you guys will like this. Can you give us a waiver just to submit late? We'll pay the fee, but can we submit late? And they were the closing night film, sold out show, LA boys. So it was like they brought the LA crowd, and it was like we found our world premiere and just swung. So I believe in the film festival process, and I think y'all are like living testament to like what good comes out of the festival experience.
I love it. All right. Thank you so much for joining us, Nelson. You are such a joy and a pleasure, and it's been so fun to collaborate with you from festivals as well.
Absolutely.
I look forward to having you back to talk about distribution, because I have a feeling that you have a great story there as well.
I do. It's not as fun as casting, I'll say that. It kind of sucks, I'll be real. But I will happily. It's pretty grim in this day and age. And my 10-second nugget is the future of indie film is self-distribution.
Yep, I agree with you. Yeah,
but I'm happy to talk about all the nonsense that is distributing.
All right, that's a wrap on Nelson. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you.
Oh my
Yay!
goodness.
Oh my God, we sidebarred so many times at the end because we just
sidebarred so
he's
hard.
so fun to talk to. I was like, oh, we're done. Oh man, I was like, I wish we were at a festival right now so we could just chit chat.
Yeah.
And not have to worry about time codes and stuff.
And then I'd have a whiskey Coke.
Yeah, and it'd be so fun. Okay. All right, so go find Nelson. So much fun. That all brings us to the Abby Singer of the day. The lesson, the vocabulary thing we're all going to learn together today.
I kept it short because I knew we were going to go long today. I just knew it.
You knew it.
So our Abby Singer word of the day, brought to you unofficially by Studio Binder.
Studio Binder, give me a call.
Is walkthrough. The vocab of the day, walkthrough. It's the first rehearsal done on a film set. It is necessary for the director to figure out camera positions, sound, and lighting. This is done before you would roll anything. So kind of contrast that with the location scout. It's already a location that you're kind of locked into. And this is what we kept saying. Tara and I have been talking about this when it comes to location scouting, but it's much more the walkthrough is what we were chatting about. We just didn't really know the term, and now we do.
Yeah.
But it would be like your key members of your crew would physically go to the space and explore the location for logistical things like how are you going to do the sound? How are you going to do the where's Crafty? Where's like everybody's got a different role, which we actually want to talk about this in a full episode at some point in
It'd be
time.
really cool to
'Cause I
get different departments and to say, what are you looking for when you do your walkthrough? Because everyone's looking for something different. Outlets. Where's everyone going to sit? How many chairs in this place? Where's the bathrooms? Like all of that
Yeah.
good stuff.
So yeah,
Yeah.
it's after you've already done your location scouts and you're kind of locked in. Now you get sometimes, I mean, on smaller things, it's going to be just your director and your DP probably. But on bigger productions, you are going to have all hands on deck going through there to figure out, where am I putting this light stand already, so that you are not wasting so much time when you actually get there.
Yeah, on the day. Yeah.
And you get a lot of rehearsal shots too. You'll be like, oh, I want to do this walking like this. And they do this a lot. I don't ever do this. This is how you know which way the camera's
This is how you
facing.
know that this is your director. You make this hand move or
Yeah.
this one. But
Yeah.
nowadays it's more this one.
You
I
can
see
do-
this
you
a
can-
lot. You can do this.
Podcast has no idea what we're
Yeah,
talking
the
about. but
podcast. So sorry, we're doing the box hand move, the bull horns, pinky
Yeah.
with your pointer finger.
You'll have to run over
Imagine,
to YouTube and find
yeah,
out what's
run
going
over
on.
and take a look real quick and then come back. All right, awesome sauce. Thank you so much. Before we lock it down and walk away from the episode, I just want to remind you guys out there about our. My God, the words are escaping me. The word for the monies that come in on YouTube is Super chats. Wow, this is how you know I've been working a lot of hours. I'm losing words I know very well.
Super chats.
We got a couple of super chats. I wanna thank David Faith. David Faith says, congratulations on your podcast and your film from all of us here at the Winchester's Old Speakeasy. Visit our Julian Film Festival location. Thank you so much, David Faith. You cracked me up.
We could probably set up a corner and have a Winchester's Old Speakeasy.
We probably could.
And that's where we'll do our live stream from festivals.
They would let us do
We'll
it.
just
Yeah,
hang up
at
a
this
sign.
point, they would allow it.
There's
They would
no
allow
rules.
it.
There's no rules in Dubuque anymore.
There's no rules. And then also David Faith again for the former nuclear missile silo rental fund.
That's hard to
he
say.
put a little funds. Yeah, I know. I did. A little funding for that. Thank you guys so much. All of these funds are going to be going to make the movie happen. We're just putting them in a little account and making it happen. If you would like to also support us and become an investor, like use that big word investor, we are working on the mechanism to make that happen right now. We're about to have all those ducks in a row. Email us and let us know that you would like to be a part of that conversation, because we'll make that happen. That official.
I ain't scared
We'll
to take
show
your
you
money.
a deck. Oh no, we'll show you our deck. We'll show you our financial plan. You can be a part of this. We would love to have you on board for making this happen, and we appreciate you all so very much. Okay, all right, that does it for us today. Next week, we'll be back with some more Marquee Casting talk discussion. We got another interview with our friend Hen, who's...
Did you
it's not-
practice ahead of time?
No, I
She's
just
like, didn't even-
love saying it.
Didn't bother
I-
with the last name?
Nah, that's Drachman. I'm gonna say
you go.
Drachman. Yeah, I think that's right. But Hen, I love saying her name at places, so I overly say her name just because I want to go Hen.
Oh, okay. Hen.
Anyways, Hen. She'll be joining us. She has a short film that has some amazing casting in it as well. So we're gonna talk to her about how did she make that happen.
She manages to get someone in marquee casting roles in all of her short films. So
All
I'm
of 'em.
curious as to how she gets to that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll be talking to her next week. And if you were listening to this as a podcast and you got to the end of the episode and you're like, what hand gestures are they making? Because we do this live on YouTube. You can join us every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pacific time live. If you're listening to the podcast and you haven't subscribed yet, please do. Subscribe to us and share us with your filmmaker friends. We are trying to cast our net wide and get a hold of as many filmmakers as possible to bring them in to talk about their films. And that's only possible when you share this. So help us make a better podcast by sharing the podcast. Thank you so much in advance for your attention to this matter. All right, guys. That's it for our episode. We'll see you guys next week. I appreciate you. Go out there, stay safe, make movies, and live a great life.
You're just gonna.
I finally don't sit awkwardly waiting to make sure you're not done and I cut you off. I'm so sorry.
Well, because you didn't do your normal sign, so I had a room to
I
do my
am-
thing, and you.
Yeah. I'm so tired. I don't know what my normal sign is right now. Welcome to the credit cookie, guys. Welcome. Those of you who are sticking around after the show, you know that we come here to talk to you in real time and have a conversation. So don't be shy. Get in that chat. Ask us questions, all that jazz.
We're going to keep this one short
Short, because it was
gone
long. And we both have so much going on. I still have to pack, Natalie. I have not packed
the
yet.
The longer these interviews go, the longer my
The
editing
longer.
process takes.
Yes. Oh my gosh. That is as well. Natalie, very important to me. Do we have a mug today?
Did you see it?
I saw it and I just wanted to check. It's so cool.
Isn't it so cute? I mean, it's not a very good coffee mug. It's I don't know what it is. I don't know who made this someplace. But you know what it reminds me of is the little cup that he gets in Neverending Story. Which is, it's got to hurt if it's to heal. You know, and she's like,
okay, yeah. That's awesome.
That's what it reminds me of.
Jackson, why the heck are you doing a cookie credit still? Because we love you. Because we love you. We want to honor, you said it earlier, we want to honor our friendships, and we're going to keep honoring our friendships to the bitter end.
The
bitter end. Okay, so catching up, I'm hopping on a plane for New York tomorrow. Shoot, that's already happening. Tomorrow, I'm tagging along with the boyfriend and on his rum adventures, and I'm actually going to play a videographer for him for events. So it's a mild working trip. But I'm going to be in New York. I'm very excited. I'm going to see some friends. I'm going to try and meet up with Hen, actually, because I think we got our weekends crossed. I thought she was going to be at a film festival this weekend, and actually it was last weekend. So I might actually meet up with her.
The SMOD one, whatever that was.
I thought that was this weekend. Yeah.
So was Gregory.
Yeah.
Where
Gregory
he
was
won
there as well.
Best Short Film, and he won. It's the one that's Kevin Smith's film festival.
Yes. Smod Cast. Yeah,
Smod Fest. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like their 4th year. I watched a couple of videos of them posting about it. Looked like fun. Looked like a good time. You, my dear, are like a week away from starting your feature film, right? This weekend. That's what I thought it was this weekend. Yeah. That is
Saturday. I'm going to say it excited instead of terrified. Saturday,
You're gonna be great.
I am starting my first lead in a feature film. It's gonna be crazy. Meanwhile, Pamela, director of Gig Harbor Film Festival, was texting me. She's like, the program's gonna be ready on Friday. Do you have time to put it up? I said, I do on Friday. After that, I don't know what's going to be happening.
Yeah.
I was like, after that, my weekends are shot for the next month.
It's exciting. Yeah, I'm very excited. If you remember, and if you can, because it's a lot, and it's going to be a lot, take pictures and post, because I would love to see the adventure as you do. But it's a lot. Yeah. You're very busy. You may not think of it. It's not a big deal if you don't. Not a big deal. I'll fill our feed full of New York stupidness.
And on the heels, I was just in LA. Yeah. I got back yesterday because we were at Holly Short's Film Festival with May I Put You on Hold, and it went really well.
It went so well.
The film was really well received. Yeah. This is the one that Ash Blogett, I don't even know how to say her last name. At least I got Ash.
Close enough. Blogett. Yeah.
Blogett.
She's not picky.
She is the one who did Joining Call back in the day, if you ever remember that one. And Good Grief, which we were promoting as well. She did a great job, and it turned out so well.
It turned out so good.
It was really a delight to see it in front of a crowd for the first time.
Yeah.
I had seen a really rough cut early on, and I was a little worried, but once they got the final sound mix in there, oh, it was so good, good.
And the audience, it was such a good audience reaction to it as well. Like, it was really fun to watch it with a room. I've seen a couple of edits. I don't watch very many of the edits, even though it's a producer on it. If I'm an actor in it, I can't watch it too many times because it's my face. And it's one thing to watch it in your own little bubble or share it with one person, but to watch it with a room of people responding and reacting to all the jokes and the stuff, like, it was so fun to feel the energy in the room. It was fantastic. Yeah. And we got to do one of the most intense red carpets I've done in a long time as well. Like, they had
I did not like the experience.
It was a full step and repeat. You know, the full, the reason they call it a step and repeat is you literally go step to this spot and do your picture and now repeat it and repeat it. Yeah. So it was like a line of photographers. It was very overwhelming. Oh, it was so intense.
there's a lot of yelling happening, and not like,
Yeah.
you know, it's not like in the movies or on television, I guess, when you see like, Pamela, look over here. There's not, no one, the photographers. This is inside scoop. I'm saying, I'm shit.
Go.
I'm spilling
Do it.
some tea and it is
Do
silent.
That is ours, trademarking. Do not
they-
take it from us.
They didn't, the photographers did not want to be
Did
there.
not
Like
want-
this
Yeah.
was beneath their time and energy.
Yeah.
And it was chaos from the moment that the red carpet started, because too many people showed up at the same time because of
Yeah.
I don't know what behind the scenes instructions were given, but it did not work out as planned.
Yeah.
And so there is a lot of yelling. It's like, who are you? What are you with? No, you know, like, and you're like,
Yeah. Chin down. Every one of them, chin down. I'm like, all right, chin down. Yeah. Yeah. And I think like on their looking at it from their perspective, I think this wound up being for them a way more intense experience as well, because there was
That's what I
just
think.
so many people and it was so warm in that
Yeah.
room, and it was just like, oh, this is already, when we
Yeah.
got there early, it was already at a fever pitch intensity, and I'm sure they were just like, oh no, this is going to be the longest 6 hours of my
right.
life.
I can't imagine how they were by the end of that, because we were like an hour into it.
Yeah.
Not even. They like
Early in.
you know, but it was already like no one wanted to be there anymore. It
was
like,
intense. Yeah.
and I also imagine, like, it's kind of like you watch the footage from what is it, Cannes with the stairs? Where they have the stairs and
Yeah,
like
the big stairs. Yeah.
it's just miserable. Like every footage you see of that, where there's like women trying to get their other picture and like they're having to like push them off, and you only see where it looks like the guys are being assholes about it, but honestly, you know that she's being a bitch about it, and she is stopped on every step and is like taking up way more time. I feel like that it's like a culmination of all those things. Like everyone demanding, no, but I need one with so and so, but I need one with so and so, and like,
Oh yeah, trying to get all their shots in that they need for the thing, and it's all I can see it from all sides. Like it's just, it was
but
intense.
I
We got
did
there.
not enjoy it.
I haven't checked once for the pictures yet,
No.
which tells you how I feel about my experience. I don't think I did a very good
I
job.
don't think I did a very
I
good
don't
job
think I'm
either.
in like a
I
single
don't
photo
think so
because they were so mad at me. Not really. They weren't mad at me, but I felt because I
felt
am.
like they were mad at you.
They
And if
felt
you're
like they
not
were mad at me.
comfortable in that situation, like if you're not comfortable getting your picture taken, like then now you're just it was not a good situation.
Yeah, no one was having a good time that
But
day.
I think it was one of those where things didn't go according to plan, and I don't necessarily put it as reflection on the festival
No.
or those people individually.
No.
I think it was a bad situation for and
It's
everyone
just a
was
cluster of things,
doing
yeah.
the best with what they could.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I think.
Imagine that time when you're trying to get a drink from the bartender and the bartender's way too overwhelmed, and now
yeah.
like that's what it felt like.
Exactly. That's exactly what it
felt
was. We were all there with the best of intentions and the best hearts, but we were all put into a pressure cooker together, and so it just was an intense experience. But anyways, but we got through it. I'm glad. I mean, like it's not gonna be the last one, so woohoo.
I'm
Did
never
it.
doing it again.
Done.
Just
It's like you may not know you're doing it until you're doing it.
this is just like, I just want to
Anyways.
tell you.
But yeah, Dances with Films went really well. It was really fun. Not Dances with Films.
No,
Holly Shorts. It's in the same theater, so I get them mixed up all the time. Holly Shorts was really fun. It was really a great experience. The films we saw were also really fun and good. I had a really good time watching, and I ate the biggest thing of popcorn, which is always like my favorite part. I got to have popcorn, the thing that matters most to me. So, anything else that we should mention before we hop off? Because we really should go.
Probably, but no.
Yeah. All right. We'll save it all for next week. We'll see you guys next week. Thank you for joining us. Thanks for hanging out afterwards and chit-chatting. Opsquatch, I see you.
Upsquatch.
I see you. Did you wear a swan? Did not. Bad juju for anyone photographing a person wearing a swan. That's a very dated comment, Obswatch, but I love you so much for it. Like, thank you for bringing. It's time to bring it back. I'm wearing those tattoo necklaces, so it's now relevant again.
There you go.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week.